Well, the news was obviously started a while ago. I mean, the players are friends with Clint, so they probably know more than maybe what I know. So I don't think the messaging was that big of a shock to anybody. Uh, I think it's just a sad story because he's an integral part of the team, important part of the team, really, really good soccer player. So on that side, they're certainly going to deal with it. But I mean, it's a job, and they got to get back to work. And we got a big game tomorrow, and I think that's what we need to make sure they're focused on.
Sure, and the original wording from Garth, and you kind of echoed it, was that you were cautiously optimistic that he could return this season. When did you start preparing as though he might not be back?
Well, Matt, my mantra has been one game at a time. So every time he's not available for the next game, that's when I started. So, I mean, yeah, I forget what the game it was that he didn't. It was the Portland game. Okay, so that was the day. I knew he wasn't going to play, so I had to prepare the rest of the team. And then that lengthened a little bit, and the next game, he wasn't available, so I got to keep going. So for me, it's just we don't have a ton of time, 5 games left, and we need to win each one.
Right. Is there some relief for Clint and the team to say, okay, come to this decision, and he can concentrate on the rehab, and you can kind of concentrate on who you have?
Relief?
Forward. Well, in terms of moving forward to help his situation. It's a bad situation, but at least I've come to a point where it's been diagnosed to a certain extent.
Look,
So
I can answer it 2 ways. And again, until Clint is comfortable talking about how he feels, I think we let him have his moment, his privacy, whatever he's thinking. That's one side of the equation. For me and the team, I think this team is strong enough to deal with adversity. I mean, stuff could happen. Something could have happened today at training, and God forbid, somebody could have come down with a random injury, and we would have had to deal with it. I mean, that's pro sports. This is certainly a bigger story for everybody because it's Clint. He's an important part of our team, national media as well, because that's Clint's stature in the game. But this is a team, and we're going to focus on just winning tomorrow, and then we'll move on to Vancouver.
How do you feel about how the team's made up for Dempsey's absence in the time since it's taken a few games? Are you happy with where they've come so far?
Yeah, I mean, look, we miss him, but we've had some good results, starting with the one down in LA. It's a strong group. I hate sounding like a broken record, but their mindset is good. That game in LA was really tough. It was tough for a lot of different reasons, and they were able to persevere. So the mindset of the group is strong. Clint is a big factor, but they will persevere.
Does having Clint not with the team for the rest of the season, does that put more of a pressure on some of the other veteran players to kind of bring this team up that has a lot of young players?
I don't think it's pressure. I think they all want to win, including I'll throw the young players in there too. Every guy on that field wants to win. So the pressure's always there every day. Do I make sure that somebody doesn't try and do too much? Yes, because that's my job. But I don't mind when guys do extra out on the training field. Herc's out there training now. Guys are doing a little extra to make sure they're ready for games in case they're called upon. So in that sense, the team is strong as well.
You've been open about your admiration for Clint as a player. I think you've called him the best American player of his generation. I mean, how do you even go about trying to replace a guy like that?
I'm going to just make sure that we're 100% clear on that. Arguably, the best American field player this country has ever produced. I mean, you can throw Donovan into the group, but Clint was more creative. He's deadly in front of goal. I mean, that's just my personal opinion that he's the best field player this country has produced. How do you replace him? Tough. I mean, we now have to go on to, thinking about the future and everything with and without Clint. I certainly hope he's back. But, we're a big enough club and a smart enough club to make sure there's plan A, plan B, plan C, and, down the road we'll make those adjustments and calls at the right time. Sure. I mean, he's a big part of the group, but I think we have a lot of big personalities there. I mean, Ramon's a big personality. Brad looked good in training today. Ozzy, since he's got the captaincy, I mean, his play on the field, his leadership within the locker room has risen as well. So I'm not as concerned because I think there's enough guys in the group that can make up the slack.
Speaking of Brad, how was his health and is he ready to go?
He looks really good.
How are you gonna continue to keep the momentum from the LA to the game tomorrow?
Keep doing the things we've done. In LA, we watched the film, and at right around that 23, 25 minute mark, the team just figured out, okay, look, these are the circumstances that are being presented to us. LA was, a little bit on top of us. It was hot. We gave a few balls away early. Then they decided to, okay, enough's enough. This is how we're going to change it. On the field, they did that. We didn't call timeout. I mean, the water break certainly helped get some messaging across, but they figured it out. They were able to keep possession for extended periods of time and actually tire them out. So part of our mantra for the remainder of the year is doing that on a consistent basis, playing strong team defense. We're talking about team defense a lot. So Steph came up again on that save to keep us at 1-0. DeSantos scores that, it's 2-0. Goals change games. So I think the whole team defense culture, the whole team possession culture, I think those are the things we need to continue to keep doing.
And execution obviously is a critical piece of that.
Well, thanks for that layup question. I mean, Jordan's goals were great. I mean, talk about execution. I mean, what a tremendous performance by the kid. Obviously, Ozzy's goal was special, and it was a shame that Chad didn't get more than just a few tufts of hair on the ball, or he would have got credit for the goal.
So, Coach, last week, Nicolas Lodeiro mentioned that when he played with Clint Dempsey, he kind of created a chemistry, and then without Clint Dempsey, the team has to step up and adjust. How that adjustment has been happening in terms of lineup to cover Clint's spot?
Well, I think the guy you might be speaking about is Flacco has come on and done a good job for us. And so on the ball that comes across, well, we'll start with the second goal that Jordan scores. Flacco was the one that played the long ball there. Obviously, Jordan had some work to do to get around the last defender, but Flacco was the one that found that ball. Then for Jordan's second goal, our third goal, the ball comes across to the far post and Flacco's able to redirect. Nelson's right there. The goalkeeper makes a save and Jordan finishes the play. So I think you could say that Flacco had a influence in the game for sure.
When the team's been playing so well the way it has, and you have a veteran presence in the leadership like Brad Evans, how do you fit him in there without having to move around too many things that would mess up the cohesiveness of the team?
Well, I don't think it's going to mess anything up because Brad's been here for a long time. The guys know him. He knows the player. So anywhere I put him, he's been around this team for a long time. We'd like to have him around for a long time. I have zero issues wherever I put him that he'll be able to mesh with the group.
Is there a position in general that you feel like he does better than others?
I will let you guys know as soon as I can.
The Fire have been playing better soccer of late. What sort of challenge they present you?
David Akam, Solniak, Deleu. I mean, they have some good players. It's not a game that we take lightly at all. There's 3 players that have played in the Dutch First Division. They can be a dangerous team. We've watched enough film on them. We will not take them lightly. We have respect for our opponents.
You go one match at a time, but when you only have a handful left and you're fighting for the playoffs, is that easier said than done with your players? Because human nature is to look at the standings.
We as a staff look at the standings. I'm sure they look at the standings. Again, there is that fine balance of, kind of reading the press. I mean, social media everywhere. People are saying, the Sounders have a chance to make the playoffs. So it's our job, my job, to make sure that we keep them grounded and that they don't overlook a Chicago, which I think our messaging is very strong in that regard.
Anything else, guys? Thanks very much.
Thanks everybody.